Okay. This assignment here, I will do these along with you. Then on the back side, you do on your own. Okay. First one. And then the other packet is just notes. The original price of an item is $150. It's put on sale for 30% off. Find the new price of the item. So here's the first thing you're going to do. Go find the word find, F-I-N-D. Go locate the word find. Find the what? New price. Circle that. If we're finding the new price, this other price has to be the original. Okay, now we're going to write out these factors. Blank times blank equals blank. This is my original. This is my percentage. And this is my new. Okay. Now, it says find the what? Find the new price. So the new price is my X. And then the original price is $150. And then this is my percent. So I take 100%. 30% off. So minus 30. And that's 70, but that needs to be divided by 100. And that's 0.7. So I just multiply these two factors to solve for the new price. So 150 times 0.7, and that's 105. So $105 equals X. That's your new price. Okay, next one. The new price of an item is $46 after it's marked up 15%. Find the original price of the item. So first thing, find the what? Original price. So this other price in here is the new. All right, now label out your factors. So original, percent, and new. It goes that way every time. So it says find the original price. So the original price is where I put the X, because that's what I don't know. And then this one right here, $46, that's a new price. Now we got to just do the percent. So I have 100% plus 15%. That's 115. Then divide that by 100, and that's 1.15. Okay, now obviously I can't divide, I can't multiply because I don't know what X is. So to find what X is, we're going to divide both sides of the equation by 1.15. Now I know I'd already have the line, so we'll just make a line here. And just fit a 1.15 there and cross it out. Then underneath the other line, we're going to divide by 1.15. So 46 divided by 1.15 is 40. So X equals $40. Okay, next problem. The original price of an item is $45. Find the new price of the item after it's marked 20% off. Okay, so find the new price. So this other price has to be the original. Just put ORIG if you want to abbreviate it. So blank times blank equals blank. And it's always original, the percent, and new. So it says find the new price. So the new price is with the X. $45 is the original price. Now let's figure out a percent. So I have 100%, I minus 20%, and that's 80%. Divide that by 100. 80 divided by 100 is 0.8. Okay, then I multiply. 45 divided by 0.8 is 36. So 36 equals X. Okay. New price of an item is $42 after it's marked 20% up. Find the original price of the item. So find the original price. So this other money amount I have, $42, is the new. So original, percent, new. Okay, so I circled find the original price. That means I don't know that, so I put X, and then this $42 is the new price. Okay, so I take 100%, and it's 20% up. That's 120%. Then divide that by 100, and it's 1.2. Okay, so we can't multiply, we're going to have to divide, so I'm just going to connect that line. Just fit a 1.2 there, and then just put a 1.2 under the 42. You're going to divide, so 42 divided by 1.2 is $35. Okay, next one. The original price of an item is $18. It's marked 40% off. Find the new price of the item. Okay. So find the new price, okay? So this other price here is the original. So original times our new, or our percent, sorry, equals our new. Again, if you forget which one's what, it's up there. Okay, so let's just find the new price. The new price I don't know. And then the original price is $18. So the percent, we take 100% minus 40%, and that's 60%. Okay, now that needs to be divided by 100 so I can put it into the equation. So 60 divided by 100 is 0.6. Okay, and you can just multiply now to find your X. 18 times 0.6, 10.8. Okay, so that means $10.80. Okay, and you have the 4 on the back. And then pause the video, do those, and then I'll take you through the other packet. Okay, that's what your test next week, next Wednesday, because we don't have school Monday. I know I said Tuesday, but I was thinking we had school. We'll review again Monday and then test on review Tuesday, test on Wednesday. Don't have a problem there. I don't know what it is, so we're going here. 2 things you check for. Do you have a dividing line? Yep, have it. And do I have any parentheses to circle? Nope. So on top of the dividing line, we have no number factors. We have a y factor. Remember, these little circled numbers are not factors. Those are exponents. Under the line, we have another y factor, but if I already have it on top, don't write it on bottom. So it's just going to be y. So I have 20, and then I'm under the line, so I'm dividing, so it would be minus 10. 20 minus 10 is 10. So y to the 10th, that's a positive, so that's stay. So if it's staying, just keep it on top. And I can't really clone a variable, so that'll just stay y to the 10th. Easy enough problem. Okay, next problem. You don't have a dividing line, so you make one, and you have a parenthesis, so I circle it, and that third, the power that's outside. So the only factor I have above the line is x. Nothing below. There's only one x, but it's to the 4th, but we got to take 4 and multiply it by 3. So 4 times 3 is 12. And that's positive, so that's stay. And we don't clone variables, so just keep x to the 12th the answer. Okay, my next problem. I have the dividing line. I see it. I have a parentheses with a third, so I circle that whole thing, and any power that comes out of here, before I write it down, has to be multiplied by 3. So the 7's to the 1, so I circle that. Or no, sorry, I need to write what I have. I have a number 7 and a letter X on top. Beneath the dividing line, we have a number 3, so I put 3, and then I don't need to put X on bottom because I already have it on top. Okay, so 7 would be to the 1. 1 times 3 is 3. That's the only 7 I have. Now let's do I like to do the 3. I like to do my numbers first. 3 is to the 1, but that's in the circle, so 1 times 3 is 3. Okay, now my x, I have two of them, keep in mind. So my first x is on top. It's to the fourth, but I got to take 4 times 3. That's 12. And then my other x is on bottom, so I will minus, okay? If it's on bottom, you minus. If it would have been on top, I would have wrote a plus sign. That's to the 1, so 1 times 3 is 3. So 12 minus 3 is 9. So here are my factors. 7 to the third, x to the ninth, 3 to the 3. They're all positive, so they all stay. So if they all stay, you just put them in the same side of the line they're on. So 7 to the third times x to the ninth, and then 3 to the third. Okay, now here are my factors. Now I can clone some of these. 7 to the third, 7 times 7 times 7, that's 343. So I replace that with 343. 3 to the third, 3 times 3 times 3 is 27. So that's replaced with 27. Then x to the ninth can't be cloned, so that's my answer. These are on opposite sides, so don't do any operations with the 343 and the 27. Okay, next problem. Get a dividing line. Here's the parentheses. Not the whole thing, just this little part here with a 2. So these aren't in the parentheses, so we'll just take the powers from here. Okay, now what numbers on top of the line? We have a number 5. We also have a number 7. And then for letters, we just have a letter A. I don't worry about them little circled numbers when I'm figuring out what to write. I don't have anything under the dividing line. Okay, so let's do our 5. 5's to the 1 in a parentheses, so I got to take 1 times 2. That's 2. 7's to the 1, but that was not in the parentheses. I didn't circle it, so that's just a 1. And then A, we have 2 A's. Here's my first A. It's to the second. I take 2 times 2, and that's 4. Then my other A is on top of the dividing line, so it will be plus, and that'll be just 4. So 4 plus 4 is 8. So 5 to the second, 7 to the first, 8 to the eighth. They're all positive, so those are all stay. So don't move them. They all stay where they're at. 5 to the second times 7 to the 1 times 8 to the eighth. Okay, so I have a couple factors here that can be cloned. At least the 5 can be. 5 times 5 is 25. So replace the 5 to the second with 25 in the exact same place where the 5 to the second was. 7 to the 1, you don't have to clone if the power is 1. It just is the number 7. And then 8 to the eighth. Now I want you to operate these two. Do the times because they're on the same side. So 25 times 7 is 175. So 175 times 8 to the eighth. Okay, next one. Make the dividing line. Don't have to worry about anything under it. And then parentheses, we have a couple here and here. So I know anything here is multiplied by 3. Any little power here is multiplied by 2. So the number factors I have on top are 3 and 7. Letters you have on top is just the X. Don't repeat the X. So don't repeat the same letter ever. So 3 is to the 1, but I got to take it 1 times 3, and that's 3. 3 to the third. 7's to the 1. I got to take 1 times 2. That's to the second. Now, X, I have 2 of them. Here's a 3, but 3 times 3 is 9. And then my other X's, I'm still on top of the dividing line, so that would be plus. 2 times 2 is 4, so 9 plus 4 is 13. So I have 3 to the third, 7 to the second, X to the 13th. That's positive, so stay. Positive, stay. Positive, stay. So 3 to the third, they all stay. 3 to the third times 7 to the second times X to the 13th. 3 to the third, 3 times 3 times 3. That's 27. So replace the 3 to the third with 27. 7 to the second, clone the 7 twice, and that's 49. Then x can't be cloned, so it keeps its 13th power. Okay, we need to operate these two because they're on the same side. So 27 times 49 is 1,323 times x to the 13th power. Okay, next problem. We have our dividing line. You have a parenthesis, so I'm going to circle it, and anything that comes out of there is multiplied by 3. So on top of the dividing line, we have just a letter P. Beneath the dividing line, we have a letter Q. Okay, P, 2, but 2 times 3 is 6. And then Q is to the 1, but it's 1 times 3 is 3. Okay, now circle those. Those are both positive, so they stay in their same side. So P to the 6th, Q to the 3rd. And those are both variables, so they can't really be cloned. Simplified. Okay, next one. Dividing lines there, you have your parentheses. 2. Okay, on top of the dividing line, you have a number 12, a letter X, and a letter Y. Under the dividing line, you have a number 5. You have a letter X, but I already put X on top. A letter Y, I already put Y on top. So there's no point in putting it again. Okay, now the 12 is to the 1, but we got to take 1 times 2. That's 2. Now X, or let's do 5 then. Okay, 1 times 2 is 2. Now we're doing the letters. How many X's do we have? We have 2, so let's do the top. So I take 3 times 2, that's 6. Then my other X is on the bottom, so we minus. That's a 1. And 1 times 2 is 2. 6 minus 2 is 4. Remember, you can't put the 1 down because that's in the circle. So 1, you have to times it by 2. I know that's hard to see on the bottom, but Y, there's 2 of those. So I got 2 times 2, 4. And then the other Y is on bottom, so minus. That's a 1. So 1 times 2. Remember, you can't just write 1 down because that's part of the circle. So 1 times 2 is 2. 4 minus 2 is 2. Okay, so here's all my factors. That's a positive, so stay. I think they all stay because they're all positive. So we'll just put everything where it is. 12 to the 2nd times x to the 4th times y to the 2nd, and then 5 to the 2nd. Okay, a couple of these factors can be replaced. 12 to the 2nd, we can clone 12, and that equals 144. So 12 to the 2nd needs to be replaced with 144. 5 to the 2nd also is replaced with 25. So 5 to the 2nd, 25. And then the letters stay like they are. X 4th, Y 2nd. Okay, next page. Dividing lines there. Here's your parentheses, but it's just the bottom part. So on top I have the number 16, and on bottom I got the number 2 and the letter X. So 16's to the 1, but that wasn't in the circle, so I write the 1 down. 2's to the 1, that is in the circle. 1 times negative 3 is negative 3. That's a 1. 1 times negative 3 is negative 3. Okay, so now we got some opposites. That's a stay. That's negative 3, so that's opposite. That's negative 3, that's opposite. So the one that stays, we'll just put that on the same side. Now let's do the opposite. Well, the 2's on the bottom. What's the opposite of the bottom? The top. So the negative 3 switches to a 3. X is on bottom. What's the opposite of the bottom? The top. So that goes to 3. Okay, so my factor, 16 to the 1 is just 16. 2 to the 3rd would be 2 times 2 times 2. That's 8. So I replace 2 to the 3rd with 8 and x to the 3rd. Okay, you need to multiply these two. They're on top together, so they need to be multiplied. 128. So 128 times x to the power of 3. Okay, next one. This is kind of a very annoying problem. Dividing lines here. You just have the parentheses here, so I just circle that part of it with the -4. Okay, so on top of your line, you have a number 3. You have a letter X. You have a letter Y. On bottom, you have a letter X, but I already have that. Letter Y, I already have that. Okay, let's talk about 3. 3 is to the 1. It's in the circle, so 1 times -4 is -4. Now the X, there's 2 of them. 1 times -4, start with the 1 on top, -4. Then my other X is on bottom, so I minus 3. You have to use your calculator. -4 minus 3 is -7. I'm going to explain real quick why that is, okay, on here. Don't write this, just watch. If you're at -4 on a number line and you subtract 3, you're going further out, -7. Okay. Now the Y, there's 2 of those. The first Y is a 6. That wasn't in the little circle, so I just write 6 down. My other Y comes from the denominator on bottom, so I minus, and then -6. But if you're minusing a negative, you would be smart to put a parentheses. You don't really have to, but I mean, it's minus -6, okay? Now, when I'm subtracting a negative, what I'm really doing is adding +6, okay? So 6 minus -6. Remember, minus negative is like adding +6. So 6 plus 6 is 12. So that's what I'm expecting to get. So that's 12. All right, here are my factors. That's negative, so opposite. That's negative, opposite. That's positive, so stay. So the one that stays, let's just put him on top, because keep him on top. Okay, that's on top. What's the opposite of top? Bottom. So the -4 switches to 4. Remember, you got to make your exponent negative, or positive, positive. Change it from a negative to a positive. That's why you have to move it. Then the X here, it's on top. Opposite of top's bottom. -7 becomes 7. Okay, what? 3 to the 4th would be the only one I could simplify by cloning, and that's 81. That belongs on bottom because 3 to the 4th was on bottom. Y to the 12th on top, and then X to the 7th on the bottom. Okay, next problem. A dividing line, parentheses with a -3. So on top of the line, you got the number 8 and the letter X. 8's to the 1, so 1 times -3 is -3. X is to the 1. Remember, it's in the circle. I got to times it by -3. That's the only X we got. Okay, so -3, that would be opposite, and that would be opposite. So what's the opposite of the top? The bottom. And the -3 goes into a 3. X goes to bottom. What's the opposite of -3? 3. Now, anytime the top ends up with nothing there, you need to put a 1 there. The bottom can end up with nothing, but if the top does, you got to put a 1. Okay, so 1, and I can clone the 8 to the 3rd. 8 times 8 times 8 is 512. Times X to the 3rd. B to the -8, okay, dividing line here. There are no parentheses. The only factor I have is the letter B on top. Well, -8. That needs to go opposite, so opposite of the top's the bottom. -8 turns to +8, and then 1 covers up the top. B to the 8th can't be cloned, so that's just 1 over B to the 8th. Okay, 4 to the -2nd, dividing line. There are no parentheses, so no multiplying done. And I just have the number 4 as a factor. -2. Opposite. What's the opposite of the top? The bottom. -2 switches to a 2. And you got 1. Okay, so I got 1. 4 to the second would be 4 times 4, and that's 16. Okay, dividing lines here, you have your parentheses. Okay. So 1, 1. So you got 3, 4. 1 times -3 is -3. 1 times -3 is -3. They're both negative, so they're both opposite. So that's on top. What's the opposite of the top? The bottom. So 3 goes to the bottom, and it's -3 goes to +3. That's on bottom. What's the opposite of bottom? Top. -3 goes to a +3. 4 to the third. 4 times 4 times 4 is 64. 3 to the third. 3 times 3 times 3 is 27. Okay, next one. Underline. You have no parentheses, so no multiplying is needed. You have a number 6, a letter A, a letter B. Variable A, variable B. Okay, so 6 is to the 1, so it's going to be 1. I just put it down because there's no parentheses I circled. So I don't need to multiply, I just take these powers. A is -3, B is 8. Positive, so stay. Negative, switch, or opposite. 8 is stay. So the ones that stay, let's keep them on top. And that's opposite of top, so bottom, and that becomes +3. Okay, you really don't need to clone anything, because 6 to the 1 is just 6. Then B to the 8th, and then A to the 3rd. Okay, then here, dividing line. You have a parentheses with a -3, so include that. Anything out of here, it has to be multiplied by -3. So I got the number 2, the letter or variable X, the letter or variable Y. Okay, so 2 is to the 1, so 1 times -3 is -3. X is to the 4th, so 4 times -3 is -12. Use your calculator to multiply. -6 times -3 is +18, and negative times a negative is a positive. Okay, so we have these 3 factors. That's negative, so that's opposite. Negative, so opposite. And positive, stay. Okay, stay. Y to the 18th will stay on top. That's the only one that stays. Opposite of top's bottom with the 2, and then the -3 goes to 3. Opposite of top's bottom, -12 goes to 12. Okay, so here are my factors. You can only clone one of them, 2 to the 3rd. 2 times 2 times 2 equals 8. Now remember, if 2 to the 3rd's on bottom, then the product 8 has to be on bottom from here to here. Okay, then my variables, I have y to the 18th and x to the power of 12. Okay, thanks for listening, and have a great day.